Welcome to the Suicide Prevention Show. We are waking up the world with the power of positivity. We are taking you where angels fear to tread. Actually, we are taking you into the realm of angels as we continue our journey to make suicide, especially teen suicide, a thing of the past. And to take us on this journey, we've got none other than Brenda Johnson, awakening consciously using chakras, energy, and bringing in more prosperity into your world. That's the journey we're going on right now. So, Brenda, do some magic. Woo! Come into the studio.
Jackie, after all the stuff we've been through, you got my name wrong. You said Brenda Johnson instead of Brenda Jacobson.
I did? Oh my God, and I was looking right at the slide. Okay, so we have an elephant in the room, and yes, the elephant's name is distraction.
That's fine. I better set it straight because they'll be confused with my name showing up on my Zoom.
Brenda Jacobson.
Yes.
It's so lovely to see you.
That's always lovely to be here with you.
All right, so a lot has been shifting in the world. And as the world has shifted, your life has shifted.
All over the place.
We've got shift with the capital S going on.
Yes.
Would you please just go back to where you were and what you were doing and the journey to where you are now? Because where you are now with chakras and energy and prosperity and the program that you have on chakras and meditations and all of these wonderful things that you are bringing positivity and very powerful tools into the world isn't where you started.
It's not where I started. In fact, I started, when I started working with the chakras, I was actually in corporate finance. I spent 25 years as CFO and CEO mostly with small and early stage companies, but those are two very opposing forces. You didn't, back in 2000, you didn't bring a lot of chakra talk into the finance sector. In fact, I was pushing all of my, whether I was employed or my clients, to have meditation rooms. And even that was unheard of back then. It's actually very common now to have a place for employees to go contemplate and just get that quiet, that quiet time to themselves. But I went through that. I left my CFO position finally in 2007. And right about that time, I started getting messages in my meditations about the chakras. And I was downloaded meditations for each one that's a generalized one, and then one for each of the chakras.
Okay, wait, we're going to put a pause here for just a second, because chakra is not necessarily a common term.
Yes, it is in my world, but you're right.
I'm going to back this up a little bit. So for anybody who was like me and I did not know what these things were, let's just give them a quick definition. You just said there were 7 of them. What are they?
We actually have several in our body, but what they are, but 7 main ones that have very specific energies channeled through them. And what they are is, if anybody's familiar with yoga or with acupuncture, they address the meridians, the energy meridians that run through our bodies. They've actually injected radioactive dye into these meridians to prove that they exist. So we know that they exist scientifically, but they channel energy from the earth and energy from the universe into every cell and every organ and every muscle and all the spaces between cells. Every single part of our physical body, our physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual existence is fed through energy that comes through these meridians. The chakras are like the gateways into those meridians. It's how the energy gets into those meridians in order to sustain life for us.
Okay, so the chakras are energy gateways.
Yes.
Good. All right. You can tell I'm paying attention here. The chakras are energy gateways. We're going deep dive into all of the things around the chakras.
Yeah.
where do they, okay, so now I've got chakras or energy gateways.
Yes.
How does that match up with prosperity? What's the connection?
Well, we start right at the root chakra. So right at running up our spine from the
Okay.
tail up to the crown.
We got a spine out of up here. Okay.
In a straight line, we have 7 major gateways.
Mm-hmm.
And the very first one is a gateway that points down into the earth. So from our tailbone, it points down between our legs into the earth. And that grounds us. That grounds us to this planet. And it gives us the right to be here and to have everything that we desire to live a healthy, happy life on this planet. So if that chakra is not healthy, and so many things will throw it out of balance, if it is not healthy, then we struggle in one realm or another.
Okay, so let's give realms. Tell me what realms are. So I want to make sure that we keep this on something that my left brain can track.
Absolutely. Thank you for checking my language. It becomes so much commonplace for me that I forget where I started with this. And I was like you, like, what the heck are these things? But when we talk about realms, we have a physical body, and everybody can relate to that physical body, the muscles and the organs. We also have an emotional body, and that's where we process emotions through. And we also have a mental body. That's where our thoughts and beliefs and patterns live. And we have around that, we have a spiritual body.
Oh.
And all of those things work together to create the experience that we have in life.
Wow.
All of those are fed by different vibrations of energy. So when we look, we see different vibrations of light. You know, you see a rainbow and it has all those different colors, and those are different frequencies of light, which are different frequencies of energy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what feeds our body. All of those various different energies come into our bodies, and we have to manage those different frequencies within our bodies.
All right. So this is what we do on an unconscious level is actually maybe the energies are managing me rather than I'm managing the energies.
Kind of like the tail wagging the dog for most of us.
Yeah. Okay. So good. So if I'm not aware of this energetic system with the spiritual and the emotional and the physical and the chakras and the gateways, then I'm pretty much like driving without a map.
Yep. You're driving from the back seat.
Oh, that's even worse.
Yeah.
Ooh, driving from the back seat. Okay. So let's take us on this journey. If we come from, well, what's so bad about driving from the back seat? What are the challenges that you were dealing with? What was showing up for you before
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Sorry. There was so much stuff going on in my life. I was suffering from depression. I had no idea. At the time that these came to me, I was going through a divorce. I'd been in a relationship for 29 years, from the time I was a young teen, and never knowing how to be an adult on my own. And all of a sudden that was ending. And I had 3 kids to deal with. And there was just so much going on in my life, and I had no skills to deal with that.
Wow.
I was scared of the future. I felt hopeless. I felt alone. I was depressed. And I was very successful CFO at that time. On a professional basis, highly successful, made lots of money to financially support myself, but I had no construct of what life should look like, being an adult on this planet on my own. So and that was when the chakras came to me. They came to me when I trained for Reiki. I became a Reiki master, which is working with those energies. And I became aware of the types of energies that funnel through each of those chakras. More importantly, the type of emotions that can throw them out of whack and out of balance. Different things. So here's an example of the root chakra for me. Being ungrounded, so the thing that opposes the health of that chakra, the emotion, is fear. I found that I have a challenge with my root chakra. Even with all the work I've done today, it's the first one to go out of balance for me, because I struggle just being here on the planet and figuring out life on this level of the planet.
All right. Now For somebody who's not a Reiki master and hasn't studied this, how would I know that my root chakra is out of balance? I mean, you said something about fear.
Yes. Well, fear will be,
Fear knocks it out of balance, but
Well,
how would I know it's out of balance?
yeah. So on the root chakra, if there's, I teach this in the course. There's so many things that will tell you whether you're out of balance, and you can be out of balance in two different ways. You can be either overactive or underactive, so deficient or excessive on each of those chakras. So with a deficient first chakra, these people try to make themselves look really small and insignificant on the planet. The deficient root, you have difficulty solidifying themselves and tend to have poor muscle tone and circulation and color. Those are the physical things.
Wow.
But also from a emotional, energetic perspective, people that with a weak root chakra will have poor boundaries. They don't know how to define themselves. They don't know how to say enough. They don't know how to stand up for themselves. And this was the challenge that I had for most of my life. I still struggle with it. They're unable to hold those boundaries. I mean, people just walk over them and treat them like a doormat, and they don't know how to deal with that. So they're not comfortable. So many things, when we talk about fear, we think about the tribal mentality. So where we came from, programmed deep in our DNA, we came from tribes. Mm-hmm. We came from communities. And for our ancient ancestors, being kicked out of the tribe was a death sentence. You did not survive if you were not part of a tribe or part of a community. And that still is programmed within us. And this is the fear. So in the root chakra, we're dealing with pure survival, that self-preservation. What do I need to survive on this planet? And this is where fear will knock us off of that. So just understanding that when we have a really healthy root chakra, we build a container. And that container holds everything that we need to have the life that we desire. It can be different for everybody, but some people want. It's interesting to see what survival is to different people, because there's some people who need to have the 50,000 square foot house and 15 cars in the garage. That's base level survival for them. And it's not right or wrong. Other people just want a nice, bridge to sleep under so they're not getting wet at night. There's totally different perspectives of what survival is. And there's not a right or wrong. It's, we honor all of those. But the trick is getting people to understand what their level, what's a good life for them, and then helping them build that container to hold all of those things. Without that strong container, how many people do you know that have either had a huge business success, or they've inherited money, or they've won a lottery and more money than they could ever dream of, and a year later they're claiming bankruptcy because they did not
statistically.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is that would be a symptom that your root chakra is out. If you're putting a lot of good stuff, career success, really good, and you're not able to sustain it, that would be an indication that that's
an indication of a weak root chakra. So even people who have they're in and out of relationships, they have the love of their life comes in this month, and 3 months from now they're out of that relationship. They can't hold it. They can't hold things in their life. And this is very relevant to entrepreneurs, to businesses of every size, because even we look at those business, those are entities, just like our bodies are. They have the same type of energies flowing through them. They're brought in by the individuals. So it's a little different context, but we see businesses who just cannot hold success. They have beautiful things to offer. They've got great marketing programs. They've got customers coming in, but they cannot show a profit because they don't have a powerful container with which to build that. Without the strong root chakra, sorry, I'll just finish this and I'll let you talk. I'll let you talk on your own summit, Jackie.
There we go. What a concept. No, I was just going to say, when we're done with this, I want to make sure we cover what having too much energy would look like.
Yeah.
So yeah, so continue. I'm fascinated.
Yeah. So with the only thing I want to say with the root chakra is that it's the foundation of every other chakra. It's the foundation of our lives. So it becomes very, very critical to build that strong, get that root chakra in balance, because otherwise it's like building a house on a really weak foundation where, the floor will sag, the house will lean. It's not strong enough to withhold any kind of pressure or weight. And it's true with our bodies. So it's very much like that.
I'm thinking about the amount of pressure that we are all under right now, going through a time of immense change on a global level. And thinking, wow, all right, so a weak or a deficient root chakra shows up as an inability to sustain success. What's an overactive one going to show us?
Well, overactive, again, whether it's underactive or overactive, you're going to have trouble with your container. With an underactive or a deficient first chakra, you have trouble holding those boundaries. So you have trouble defining them. With an overactive one, your boundaries become very rigid.
Oh.
You're very resistant to change. Now, in this world, that is not a good thing. The rate that our world is changing right now, being resistant to that is a recipe for disaster, both individually and business-wise. Often people will build a protection around themselves. Their boundaries are so strong that it's like a suit of armor. That was exactly how mine was described when I started this work. When I was training in Reiki, the Reiki master, people were trying to do work on me, and she said, "No, stop it. Nothing will get through." She said, "You have got such a suit of armor around yourself that nothing that we do will get into you." And she had to do some private work on me to break down that suit of armor. The minute I get scared of something, if my life takes a turn or something goes out of control for me, I can feel that suit of armor just go wham. And then I have to work again at releasing it. And the thing is that with the knowledge that I have, I'm aware of when it's happening now. Before, like you said at the beginning, before I was never aware of what the heck was happening in my life. I just didn't like the results, but I didn't know what was driving the results.
Got it. So isolation from other people, not feeling connected to other people. So it's like a deficient root chakra is like too connected to other people, where you don't know who you are in the relationship. And the opposite of deficit, I've forgotten what the word is.
Excessive.
Excessive is like having a suit of armor. So you're disconnected from other people. And wow, so this really is foundational to everything, because everything in our world is relationship. And so finding that middle balance. And I know you've got some amazing ways that will help people find this balance. But if somebody suspects that they're one extreme or the other, is there something that they can do that's really simple that would just help bring this sort of into the middle?
Just before we go there, I just want to tell you what a healthy root chakra looks like.
Bingo. Okay. Yes. How would I know I was balanced?
Here's how if it's excessive and if it's deficient, this is what it looks like. But what we're striving for here is that feeling of bodily comfort, health, energy, nourishment, finances, personal security, vitality, safety, stability, prosperity, just encouraging expansion and vitality and enabling that physical, mental, emotional growth. That's what we're striving for. There's people that we know that we talk about them having the world by the tail, that, anything they want, they get. Like, oh, aren't they lucky? Well, they're not lucky. They've got a balanced root chakra. They've got a balanced chakra system. So that's what we're striving for, is just to bring balance.
Got it. Okay. So I'm happy to hear this. Okay. So the balance equals, we'll put quotes around the word luck.
Luck, or it's when, what I define balance in the course is when the heart and the head are aligned in the whole system, not just in the root chakra, but just having that heart and head in alignment. So you're not They're not opposing forces. But you're right. In the root chakra, it's that charisma, that presence that people have. You know, people are attracted to those people. They want to be around those people. Those are somebody who have people who have a very strong root chakra or very strong presence.
Cool.
So,
All right.
so you'd asked what people can do, and I think in the gift that I gave people here,
Yes. So we have that link for everybody coming up. And after I asked, I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Maybe I should tell the story because I listened to this. What she is giving you all as a gift is nothing short of amazing. So stick around because it absolutely addresses the entire system, and it's a meditation, and it's super easy, and it's on an app, so you can do it on your phone. So totally blew the surprise out of the water. But don't worry, we'll get it to you all. And there, there it is. Actually, Katie's already taking care of it, so you all don't have to wait. But don't start listening to it yet. Let's continue the conversation.
That's what I was looking. Are we at the end already?
No. All right. So moving up the chakra system. So this is the root chakra, and you were talking earlier about the rainbow. And one of the things that helps me with the chakra system is understanding the colors. So feel free, take us down this road.
So there's 7 chakras. So the root chakra, as we talked about, is at the base of the spine, and it channels red light energy from the earth. The earth is like a giant magnet. So that is your magnetic energy that comes up into your body. We need magnetic energy, and all the science is telling us we're very deficient on magnetic energy, and it runs every cell of our bodies. We talk about ourselves being electromagnetic beings. We've heard that. Science is telling us that. It's because the electrical energy comes from the universe. We see lightning and all those electrical storms come in from the crown chakra. The magnetic energy comes in from this magnet that we live on, that we call Earth, and it comes up into our bodies. So that is the first chakra. The second, and fear is what will throw that off. The second chakra is the sacral chakra. So it's right in just between your pubic bone and your belly button, and it channels in orange light. And it is the emotional center of our body. It's where we process emotions. So it is, when we look at the root chakra as self-preservation, the sacral chakra is self-gratification. It's where all of our sexual organs are. It's where we reproduce. It's where we experience pleasure. But it's really is that emotional center for our body. What we are looking for in that is the ability to feel and experience pleasure. The solar plex chakra, which is right in our solar plexus, right below the breastbone.
Oh, wait. Let's come back to the sacral chakra for just a second.
Okay.
Because there's a lot here to unpack.
Oh, there is.
As far as this being how we give ourselves permission to experience pleasure. Yeah. So somebody who's deficient in the sacral chakra would struggle to have pleasure in their life?
They will. Guilt is the opponent. Where we said fear opposes the health of the first chakra, guilt opposes the health of the second chakra. So when we look at, how much guilt has our society put around sex? Like there's huge amount of issues and shaming around our sexuality. So it's so that's the second chakra. We're looking at if it's deficient. Physically, you're going to have restricted movement, and even emotionally, you're going to have restricted movement. The body will appear really rigid, trouble yielding to feelings. These are people who can't admit that they have a feeling, that can't put any language to their emotions.
Oh, boy, that's a huge, huge risk in our world to not be able to express emotion.
And you'll see that rigidity in them, where they're just not willing to talk or think about that. And as we know through the emotional intelligence work that we're doing, it will open up people's lives, and every one of those dimensions will open up if you can flow emotion properly through your body. What are there? Inflexible boundaries again. Feeling, if people feel empty, that emptiness, that dullness, that being stuck or isolated, that comes from the second chakra.
Got it.
Social skills are in that second chakra, how comfortable you are in socializing. We know that people connect emotionally, and people who cannot talk on that level will feel very isolated. With
So,
excessive second chakra, you'll see the drama queens, the people who are
oh,
just overly emotional all the time and reaching out, and very codependent, really dependent on other people to be venting their emotions on. They always need to be connected. They can't spend any time on their own. I have friends who will go from one relationship and it will end, and 2 days later they're in another one. They can't possibly spend any time on their own because of the weakness in that.
so what would it look like if it was balanced?
If it was balanced, we have healthy relationships and healthy sexuality. Our movements are graceful. We have emotional intelligence. We can talk intelligently about emotions. We can process our emotions with a level of intelligence. We can experience pleasure in every realm of our life. We can nurture ourselves and nurture others without being codependent with them. We can accept change, exhibit healthy boundaries at every level of life. When you have that level of emotional intelligence and emotional resilience, you can weather those ups and downs and those changes. They don't knock you totally off balance.
Oh,
So
cool.
that's kind of what the second chakra looks like.
There we go. All right. Thank you for slowing that down and letting me unpack that, because I love getting this sense of what it looks like, on all three:
Yeah.
deficient, excessive, and balanced. So when it comes to the next chakra, you said it's the solar plexus. Now, the solar plexus exists right below the breastbone, right?
Yes.
Okay, so this is the part that's really tender. If you want to, in martial arts, if you want to disable an opponent, you hit them right there.
And you take their breath away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very
Okay.
much so. The reason for that is our center of power. That is our center of personal power. When you disable somebody's power, you disable them. They become very weak. So it is the chakra where we define ourselves. And in our society, so like almost everybody struggles because society tries to define us. Parents try to define us. Churches try to define us. Our teachers try to define who we are. And if you don't fit into that very narrow little box that they put out for you, that is right or wrong, you and I both, right?
Yeah, I don't fit into anybody's box.
No. And so the opponent of that chakra is shame. People will shame you. And you can relate to this. I can relate to this from my childhood. I was shamed for being very, very different. And I admit I think I was ahead of my time, but I was totally different than anybody else. I was different than my three sisters. My parents had no idea what to do with me. And in order to get me under control, they would shame me for being who I am, tell me that it was wrong, put on tranquilizers when I was 7 years old so that I would quit being different than my three sisters. So shame is a really big, it is the opponent of that third chakra.
So when the third chakra is deficient, how
Yeah.
would that show up?
People have a lack of fire, lack of vitality, poor self-confidence, a weak will. They lack spontaneity. They're really easily manipulated by others, and they often feel victimized. This is where you're going to see the victims show up. Depression is really prevalent in these people. Again, the result is they feel shame. Shame will drive depression. There's a weak ego, characterized by avoidance rather than overcompensation, which we see in excessive.
Well, take us there. So if the signature of a deficient solar plexus chakra, the third chakra, if it's avoidance, excessive would be what? How would that show up?
It would be, well, with your deficient ones, those you're going to see your people pleasers there.
Okay.
Overactive one, these are the ones that have power over. These are the bullies and the tyrants that will show up. They will diminish others in order to make themselves feel more powerful. They bolster their ego through accomplishments, engagement, busyness. Yeah, I mean, that kind of summarizes it. These are your bullies and tyrants and workaholics that are showing up in this.
So,
They have
and
a very rigid will.
you added busyness to that. And I'm like, is it normal for people to swing? Because
It is,
I'm on both ends of this
yeah,
one.
yeah.
Different things.
Very common to go back and forth. It's
Ah,
like a teeter-totter. You know, the teeter-totter goes up and down, and you'll never get it to sit perfectly still. If you do, there's something wrong because life does not stop.
oh,
What you
good. So the goal is not to be in a state of balance all the time on all of them.
The goal is to be bouncing between those two so that the result is that you feel like sometimes you might be shy and withdrawn in certain things, and other times you could be overcompensating. It's getting those swings between the two to be minimized.
Got it. Okay. Not to be gone, but to not be extreme.
They'll never be gone. And I tell people this isn't a once and done thing. People that take my course and they learn how to how to recognize the symptoms, how to heal and bring those chakras into balance, they're not done. Like, it's just really good information, because then you can identify when you're swinging one way or the other, and you have strategies to heal it. But it is not ever done. I taught my course starting in December, and man, after 3 weeks, I was going through huge shifts in my own stuff, like challenges that I was having to clear out, because life is traumatic for us.
It certainly can be. There is no doubt. We are in the season of change.
We are, we are not, as human beings, we are not really comfortable with that.
Yeah, even though change is a whole experience of life from the moment of birth, we
Yeah.
are everything is changing around us. We are changing, you know? And so, but you're right. We're not taught to be comfortable with change.
With change. And what's really throwing people into overwhelm now is not that we're changing, but it's the speed and the intensity of change. People in the astrological community that I work with say that this is the biggest evolutionary shift in mankind, in humanity, in over 12,000 years, is what we're going through right now. Like, this is profound shift.
So anybody on the call who's feeling a little wonky, like you're not on stable ground, congratulations. That means you're normal.
You're normal. Yeah. And all we want to do is give them tools to help work them through that.
Cool. All right.
That, like I say, this isn't just come here and we'll give you a fish. This is, come here, we'll teach you how to fish. We'll teach you how to manage these things as they hit you. I've been doing this for 20 years. I learned this in the late 90s, and I have been using it for 20 years. And it is my one go-to tool for every time. As you know, Jackie, I fell 3,000 feet down a mountain in 2009. This is what got me through that. It took 5 years, but this got me through and taught me a whole lot about it.
Well, the amazing thing is not that it took you 5 years, but that it took you only 5 years to recover from falling down a mountain.
Absolutely. And you know that when I look back on that, it took 2 years for my body to heal. My physical body healed in about 2 years. I could walk fairly normally again. I could get out. I was weaker, obviously, but I could get out. It was the emotions that kept me stuck. It was the anger that my life ended in those few seconds that it took me to fall that far. It was the shame at what my body would and wouldn't do for me, the disgust, all of those contracting emotions that I was stuck in. I had no tools to process them. That's where the learning came in. That's where UEQ came in, that learning about emotional intelligence. How do I manage my emotions? Very much second chakra work.
Very much. Okay, so for anybody who doesn't know what UEQ is, we will go into that towards the end, just so you'll know. We will not leave you hanging with that.
Yes, I keep dropping these things. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's my job, is to pick them up. Yeah. So we have a question about what color is the solar plexus chakra?
It is yellow. The way I remember this is it is the sun. It is the center of our universe. So
yes,
it channels
personal
that power of the sun.
I love that. I love that. That's great.
It's an easy
Cool.
one to remember.
Yeah, easy one to remember. Okay, so moving on up, fourth
Moving
chakra.
on up, the heart. The heart
Oh,
is actually the bridge between the upper chakras and the lower chakras. So it's right in the center of the system. And it is the most delicate of all of the chakras. And it is that where we learn to give and receive love. Give and receive anything. It's that balance between giving and receiving. Most of us are very good at giving, especially in the healing community. Most people are very good at giving, but they really suck at receiving. They do. Like, and I include myself in there.
yeah, okay, I get this. And overgiving is just as much of a relationship challenge as overtaking. So
Absolutely.
cool. All right, so a
Yeah.
deficient heart chakra. How would I know?
Heart chakra is, um, let me just make sure that I'm giving all the accurate information.
All right, here comes the fire hose, people.
Here comes the fire. I'm going to try to manage the fire hose.
I can answer the first question, which is the color, because
Yes,
the heart chakra is green.
the heart chakra is green. And sometimes people will associate pink with the heart chakra, being the color of love. The opponent of the heart chakra is grief.
Really?
So yeah, you hear about us being heartbroken.
Oh, got it.
That is
Okay.
grief. That will throw us out of whack. And so the kinds of things when we're looking at deficient and underactive and overactive, people with an underactive heart chakra tend to withhold love and affection and withdraw from relationships. Not because they don't want love, but because they don't want to take the risk of getting hurt and creating that grief. I had that. I lost the man that I was in love with, died very suddenly on me. And the grief, like the heart literally broke. In fact, I was told later I had a heart attack when they did a cardiac thing on me. I know I was very sick in around that time, but it physically manifested in me as a heart attack. I just knew that I was heartbroken and processing that grief. And I'll tell you, for years and years after that, I did not want to get in a relationship because I did not want to experience that level of grief again in my life. That shut my heart chakra down. It was very, very underactive. So that's the type of thing that we look for. So when we put up those boundaries around our heart, and that, again, that suit of armor around there to protect our heart, the challenge with that is it keeps the hurt out, but it keeps us isolated. So it keeps the hurt out, but it keeps all the love out and all those positive emotions out. It doesn't just keep the pain out, it keeps everything out.
That sounds a lot like depression.
It's very much like depression. It's like, it's just not worth it. It just was not worth me stepping out and taking the risk of getting into a relationship again. It just hurt too much. So that's the underactive chakra. Overactive is that excessive neediness for love. The ones that I talk about that have to go from relationship to relationship just can't be on their own. Using love to compensate for that sense of incompleteness within themselves. They look to others to provide that sense of wholeness rather than getting it from within themselves. That self-love is the foundation of the heart chakra. And so many of us have never learned to love ourselves. We've been taught that it was selfish. Selfish was a bad word. I look at it as a good word now. But, selfish, doing things for yourself was frowned upon in my upbringing.
I had to shift from this idea of being self-centered. And when
Exactly.
the day I got it, if I'm not in the center of my own life, whose life am I living?
Yeah. And so you start to honor yourself. And I mean, there's so many teachings out there and cliches out there. You can't give what you don't have. So if you don't have love for yourself, you have no ability to authentically love other people. So it all starts with that self-love. And for so many of us, it was damaged in childhood. And we have to go back to that inner child and nurture that inner child in order to be able to bring that heart chakra into balance. So when we look at a balanced heart chakra, it is those people that have that balance between giving and receiving. They feel complete, they feel whole, and they feel loved. and they're able to extend those same feelings to others in a really authentic way. They have love and compassion for themselves and for those people around them. And it's unconditional. It's not, you do this, I will love you. It's unconditional love.
Oh, that's so beautifully put.
People with a balanced heart chakra have a very positive outlook on life. They recognize all the good things because there is so much more good than bad out there. When this system comes into balance, we're able to see that and to receive that. And we'll have the strong container to hold it. So
Cool.
that's the heart chakra.
All right. So we're going to zip through and we're going to do the fifth chakra, which is right here, right?
It is the throat chakra. Yeah, right in the, obviously in the throat. And it is where you find your voice, that personal voice. We look at that and when we build it builds from the root. So we feel safe. We know how to manage our emotions. We've defined ourselves as a very healthy, whole human being. We know who we are. We have our good boundaries. We've come to a point of loving and accepting ourselves in the heart chakra. And then when we get to the throat chakra, we can express that. We can express ourselves to the world. So this is where we actually start showing up in the world. The second chakra is where we bring the outside world in through all of our senses. The throat chakra is where we bring our inside world out to the outer world. We have our voice. We speak our truth comfortably, whether people agree with us or not. We're comfortable expressing our inner truth. And the thing that opposes this chakra is the secret lies and mixed messages. Mixed messages will just scramble that chakra. When people say one thing and do another thing, you just don't know. It just sends you into a tailspin unless you're very grounded in that. With that balanced root chakra, you can speak very, very openly and honestly and authentically. You present a real authentic self, your authentic self to the world. So again, with underactive fifth chakra, trouble communicating. You have people who have a very quiet voice or a very raspy voice. They talk so quietly that you can't hear them. Extremely shy and self-conscious, have difficulty putting their thoughts into words, especially when it's emotions that are involved. Overactive, you see people who have to be the center of attention. They're loud and boisterous, and they are far better at talking than they are at listening. And they just want to be the life of the party, and nobody has a chance to talk. Those are people that have a very overactive fifth chakra. And what we're looking for in the balanced fifth chakra is that accuracy of communication, that's being able to communicate your truth, whether it's acceptable to others or not. Being able to witness and meet another person's truth and their approach to life. What else? Good communication skills, which means that there's balance between speaking and listening. It's not just listening all the time. It's having that balance between the two of them.
Cool.
So that's the fifth chakra. Yes, that's the fifth chakra, the throat chakra. And the color for that one is blue, like a sky blue.
Cool.
It's actually a very beautiful, beautiful chakra when you get those colors coming.
Yeah, we'll talk about colors at the very end because I want to make sure we get to the sixth and seventh. So the sixth chakra is this one, right? Right up here on the forehead.
It's the third eye. It's called the third eye chakra. And we're moving away from the physical and into the etheric side of the body. So this is where we start working with, instead of tangible physical energies, like physical in that they're emotional, they're tangible, you can identify them. We're moving into more of a realm of symbols and symbolic messages. That third eye sees things that other people don't necessarily see around them. It's the real strong connection to universal energies. So in this chakra, we have people that identify with different angels. I identify with all of these things. Numerology, the symbol of numbers. Animal medicine is very powerful in native spirituality. It was one of my first entry points into this realm of this work that I'm doing, is getting receiving messages through animals, because there's so many books I could look them up on.
Mm.
Those are recognizing those symbols are the world of the fifth chakra.
Cool.
So it's actually the home, also the home of your intuition. So people who have a very healthy, I won't go into the deficiencies, but when we're looking at a balanced sixth chakra, people show strength in their intuitive abilities. They can receive those messages. It's the home of your imagination. So they can use their imagination and their creativity. They can access those. They can calm their mind and see clearly without interference from personal issues. So these are the people who can get into that meditative state. And no matter what's going on in the world around them, they can take that time to just find that calm place in their world.
What knocks this one out of alignment?
What knocks this one out of alignment is imbalance in all of the other chakras. Whether it's grief or the fear, any of the lower chakra things.
If the stack is out of alignment, then it's going to impact your ability to receive intuition.
Yeah. And then so that's the one thing, but the other big thing is illusion. If people go into their imagination, they can go out of balance and they can not be able to identify between illusion and reality. They will get stuck in illusion and think that is their reality. And so being careful, imagination is so powerful, but it becomes destructive when it creates an illusion of something that is not based in reality. When you can't marry the imagination with reality, illusion will push you out of balance.
Got it. All right.
And the color of that one is a deep indigo, which is a very dark turquoise.
Oh, indigo is a dark turquoise.
Yeah, dark. It's that dark blue that's almost looks black, but it's it's very dark turquoise.
Cool. All right, bring us home.
Bring us home. So then the top of our head is the crown chakra, and as I said earlier, it's where you channel that universal energy in, and it feeds down into that central channel along with the magnetic energy of the earth, and it is where we it's where we collect knowledge from all realms. It's we can get it from visions, we can get it from books, we can get it from songs, from dreams, from so many different places, but it's hungry for knowledge because it's in processing that knowledge that we're able to see the world as it is and the possibilities of where that can go. So it really is when we collect that data, we are able to define ourselves more clearly. So we gain self-knowledge through the knowledge that we collect in through this crown chakra. So what we're looking for in that chakra is that ability to know and learn. When you take on information like that, you expand your universe and you expand your way of being. And so I've always told people that ignorance is the words just left me. But the lack of knowledge, when you bring in that lack of knowledge, you become very ignorant. You don't have the information that you need to make your proper decisions and your proper evaluation of your life and your world. And when people shut down that crown chakra, they shut off that ability to learn new things, to explore new horizons, to bring in new knowledge. So that is what the crown chakra is, and it integrates all of the other chakras into the health of that crown chakra.
Got it. Okay, so that explains a lot. I'm starting to see some patterns in what's true for me. So I'll invite everyone to just take a deep breath. We went on a real jaunt through this energy system, and I realized that there is another conversation to be had. So we're going to have you back on another show. So,
awesome.
And it's going to be a prerequisite that people watch this one so that they know the language of what we're talking about. What would knock the crown chakra out of balance again? I want to make sure that I get it in my notes.
The crown chakra would be knocked out of balance by certainty. That was the word I was looking for. Certainty is the mother of ignorance. When people become very certain that they are right, that and they're not open to other people's opinions or to other people's views of the world, it will knock that chakra. It will shut the chakra down.
Wow.
And no new information can come in, so their life becomes very stagnant.
Got it. All right. So the good news is we gave everybody the gift, and we have a question. Cheryl, thank you, Cheryl. The color rose, and does it have the highest vibration of all? Because there's a great poem about roses with a blush of rose.
Yeah.
A cream white rose with a blush on its petal tips.
Right.
But the question is, is it true that the rose color has the higher vibration?
That's not my understanding. My understanding is that the white light energy, which is the crown, actually has two colors. It has violet and it has the white energy coming through it. And the white energy, we know that the color white is not really a color. It's a culmination of all of the other colors brought in together. It's why the crown chakra can feed every channel in our body, because through the white light energy, it brings in the frequencies of all of the other ones. So to me, that's the purest of all energies. I would say the rose colored energy is certainly the most powerful love energy, but our system is more than just love.
Mm-hmm.
We're looking at the knowledge and the imagination and the intuition and survival and pleasure. All of those things come together, but that really gets fed primarily through that the power of the white.
Oh my God, John Lennon got it wrong when he said all you need is love.
All you need is love. Well, it's a good place to start.
It's a great place to start. So start with, I'm going to just suggest that people start with the color that vibrates the highest for them, where they are today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and in the meditation that is the gift.
Yes.
I really encourage people to download that, because you put it on when you go to bed, so you don't have to take any time out of your day, but it will bring all of those colors in. For
anybody who falls asleep when they meditate, this is a
perfect one. And it's free on the app, and it just will you'll start to notice when you wake up in the morning, certain things will bubble up, like certain energies will come up, and you will be told where you need to start working.
Cool.
After doing that for several days, a week or so, you'll start to get little, things will seem out of whack in your life, or you'll get a vision of something, or people experience it very differently. However, it went around, it's downloaded well over 100,000 times. Mm-hmm. And the emails that I get from people, the profound healing that they get from this boggles my mind. It boggles my mind that I've got one guy that went from homeless to having billions of dollars, and he said it's all because of this meditation.
So
profound.
Yeah. I mean, we know from our other conversations that along with money needs to come money management, and so healing means that you not only have all of these trappings of prosperity, but you have the power to be able to sustain them.
Absolutely.
And that's where the disconnect has been in our society for so long, is the focus was on getting, but not on managing. And not
on wealth. It was on finances, but not wealth. Like, wealth encompasses so much more than just money. Mm-hmm. Some of the happiest people I know have the least amount of assets.
Yeah, it is this whole personal perspective on the world.
Yeah. It's balance.
So cool. So thank you for being willing to bring that into the small time frame and share it with everyone, Brenda.
You're welcome. It was a fire hose.
It was a concise fire hose. And so there's a question about somebody who has a desktop and cannot download the meditation, meaning that you don't have a phone that they can get the app on. So send us an email and we will make sure that you get access to whatever you need. There we go.
The link that Katie put in there takes them to the app page on the website, but if they go into the contact, and they can send me a thing, and I can send them a link.
Oh, awesome. There we go. So we got you covered, Cheryl. No worries. So lots and lots of opportunities for everyone to be part of this conversation and to make sure that you get the gift of this meditation. It certainly is profound.
Yeah.
Brenda, thank you.
Thank you so much, Jackie. You kept me on track.
That's my job.
You're awesome.
Hang around. The ride gets more interesting from here.
Thanks so much.